affected, and almost 5 million as of today dead, and therefore counting, because unfortunately and sadly, more people will die. The devastating effect of this disaster is unprecedented. Its ramifications can be felt by everyone and in all aspects of life. And not surprisingly, it has had a telling impact on NCF as well, on our projects, on our people, on our finances, and on the way we engage with the public. But as the chairman said, remarkably, most of our field projects were not severely affected. They were affected, but not as severely as you would imagine. And it is a mix. Some of them badly affected, but some even benefited actually, which is remarkable. That in some places, like in Omo Forest Reserve in Ogun State, I think the lockdown led to less poaching and less logging for the period that some of the lockdown lasted. And there are some vulnerable projects, like where we expect visitors to come, like in the Lekki Conservation Center, where the footfall of visitors coming was severely affected. Also, projects that involved public engagement, especially going out to do workshops or to do rallies and walks in the streets. Those ones were also severely affected and were at a standstill during the lockdown. So there were some restrictions and challenges due to lack of face-to-face meeting, due to the need for social distancing. And these restrictions not just affected NCF, it also affected some of the communities we have been working with, who have been deriving their livelihoods and been gaining some income from some of the ecotourism or improved poverty reduction activities we were doing with them. Nevertheless, we, as the chairman said, responded the best way we could by moving many project meetings and activities to online platforms. We use phone calls, we used WhatsApp, we even use radio broadcasts in some places, which we found quite useful to reach many people in terms of engagement. And most especially, something we found which was very useful was because we already work with communities where we are, and they are our eyes on the ground in those places. And ramping up the working with these communities really helped. So we had people within the community who are scouts and who could patrol and monitor forests and therefore report and stem any illegal activity going on. And that we have continued even after the lifting of the restrictions on movement. So just 2 days ago, some of our community scouts were able to intercept some people trying to sell elephant tusks around the forest in Ogun State. And then they reported to our project staff, who now confiscated the thing and took it to the police, and things are now going on. So overall, we've been lucky to escape from some of the past waves of the pandemic with just a minor impact. And in fact, as the chairman mentioned, for some of the projects like the afforestation activities, we've never done so much as last year. We were able to go massively into initiating the Green Recovery Nigeria, and together with partners, planted more than 1.7 million seedlings in about 14 states across all the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. But what the pandemic shows us, as the president said in his speech, is that really, if we don't look after the environment, things will come back to bite us. So even though there are still some investigations going on, But even the possibility that the pandemic came from zoonotic sources, which means from wildlife sources, shows that we have to be really good at managing our wildlife and managing nature if we want to prevent future pandemics. And past pandemics have stemmed from wildlife. So the love of bushmeat and the mixing and eating of bushmeat and blood and others in the market is causing the rest of us all over the world to suffer. And as I say, the main thing about this reducing the space for wildlife and bringing us more in contact and close proximity with wildlife means we are not practicing the ecological distancing that we need to do. And that is leading us to have to be forced to practice social distancing. So if you don't do ecological distancing, you will end up doing social distancing. And this is a wake-up call for us. Things in terms of projects, as we said, were going on and not too severely affected. In terms of funding as well, some aspects of our funding were severely hit and other parts were not severely hit. Especially contribution from you members last year, understandably, because of the suffering and pain that people were going through, we had one of the lowest years in terms of contribution from both individual members and from our corporate members. So as we recover and begin to gain ground from the pandemic, we are hoping and looking forward to more contributions from you, dear members. But it also shows the resilience and robustness of the organization that we ended the year with a healthy balance sheet, as you will hear from our auditors. And the reason is because our funding sources are quite diversified. The chairman mentioned that after a long time, we've got some grant from the government last year. Our international partners were understanding and we got some more grants from them, but also because of prudent management of the little resources that we had, that was why we ended the year with a healthy balance sheet. But the wake-up call is that we need to diversify even more and we need to be sure that we maintain that robustness that we have. So it is important that we build the lessons of the pandemic and the heightened awareness it brought on nature, because to be honest, for a long time, I haven't seen that kind of interest and awareness in nature, especially during lockdowns, where videos were trending on social media about charismatic wildlife taking over streets in many cities across the world. You can see elephants moving in some cities, right in the center of some cities, and other wildlife. And that brought real heightened awareness on it. So we've got to capitalize on that and really make sure that we maximize the way we send our message for prudent and good management of nature, and that we stem the loss of nature, which is still one of the two existential crises that human beings face. The other, of course, being climate change. There are twin evils, two twins that really pose an existential crisis for mankind. So hopefully we'll get over the pandemic quite soon, but we shouldn't forget those lessons, both as an organization and as individuals. So thank you very much, Mr. President. I will stop my report here.
Thank you very much, Director General. I shall now call upon the auditors, Mrs. Akintola Williams, Deloitte, to read the report, the annual report, and the financial statements for the year which ended 31st December 2020. Over to you. auditor's representative.
Good afternoon,
Is it-
everyone. Good afternoon, sir. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you, Mr. Chigozie.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the opportunity given to us to serve as external auditors to the foundation. We are very grateful, and we want to say thank you to management for the support and cooperation we received in the course of the audit, which enabled us to complete the procedures before we issued our opinion. I want to increase your indulgence to read the first, second, and the last paragraph of our audit opinion. If that is fine, I can go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. Independent auditors report to the members of Nigerian Conservation Foundation. Report on the audit of the financial statements. We have audited the financial statements of Nigerian Conservation Foundation, set out on pages 3 to 17. So this, the pagination referenced here, it's regards to the audits, the financial statement we issued. I know it must have been brought into the annual report, so the pagination might not be the same. I'm reading from the original audit opinion, which comprised the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2020, the statement of income and expenditure and other comprehensive income, the statement of changes in members' funds, and the statement of cash flows for the year then ended. The notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of Nigerian Conservation Foundation as at 31st December 2020, and its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards and the requirements of Companies and Allied Matters Act. I'll now go to the last paragraph. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In accordance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act, we expressly state that, 1, we have obtained all the information and explanation which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. The Foundation has kept proper books of accounts so far as appears from our examination of those books. And lastly, the Foundation's financial position and its statement of income and expenditure and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts and returns. This report was signed by my very self, Chigozie Okoro, on behalf of Deloitte and Touche. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I shall now invite questions and comments, if any, on the reports and financial statements, as well as the Foundation's general activities. You will kindly raise your hands by clicking at the bottom right, clicking the icon. At the bottom right, I don't know if that is of your equipment. And when you've been recognized, as I told you earlier, you should please give your name so the secretaries can record it appropriately. Any questions or comments?
Yes, sir, there are 2 hands raised, one from Mr. Sahal Inua.
Please proceed.
Does he have the floor? Okay.
Yes, you should take the floor.
Okay, Mr. Sahal Inua, please unmute yourself and speak.
Good day to you. All protocol duly observed. My name is Salim Muhammad Inua from Department of Biological Science, Federal University, Duse, representing FUD Conservation Society. I'm glad and very happy to be here with you today at the 32nd Annual General Meeting of Nigerian Conservation Foundation. Mr. Chairman, sir, I would like to make some comment concerning the activities of Nigerian Conservation Foundation. From what I have observed, little emphasis is given to desert encroachment in states like Jigawa, Yobe, among other things. I don't know, but I would like to have some clear explanation on this. Thank you so much. This is my little contribution.
Thank you very much. You said you would like to ask some questions. Or did I hear you well?
Yes, what I have said is concerning. Hello, are you hearing me, sir?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes, what I'm saying is concerning the issue of desert encroachment in Jigawa and Yobe State, the far northwestern and northeastern Nigeria. What Nigerian Conservation Foundation are doing to tell the further effect of desert encroachment in those affected states.
Okay, fine. I'm sure that note has been taken of that. We'll have an answer soon.
Yes.
Which was the second question?
So there is another person, sir, on who has raised his hand, is Mr. Ayodeji Abdurrauf. So Mr. Abdurrauf, if you can unmute your microphone, and then there is another hand up as well after him from Mr. Desmond Majekodun. Abdurrauf, yes, go on.
Okay, thank you, sir. All protocol duly observed. This is my second participation in this AGM, and it has become an exciting and enlightenment forum. My own is just a suggestion for the foundation. One is that most faith-based organizations should get engaged, involved in this kind of work, because I can see that our people respect our spiritual leaders even more than their governor or even their parents at home. So NCF should find more collaboration with faith-based organizations so that the awareness that we are trying to create could be more impactful. Secondly, on the business sense of it, what NCF is doing has a lot of value chains in terms of creating entrepreneurs in our environment. We saw the viral videos on social media recently when we see a young lady, an entrepreneur, converting tires to furnitures and all sorts. This is very encouraging. So the business side of helping in conservative of our environment is also need to be put in consideration by NCF so that we can create more startup opportunities and entrepreneur within our environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there was another hand.
Yes, sir, Mr. Desmond Majekodun.
Okay.
And another one has just come.
Very good.
Yes, just briefly, thank you, Mr. President, for this wonderful initiative that you started so many years ago. It has inspired so many of us, and we're truly, truly grateful. Thank you, Mr. DG, for your lovely statements, particularly about if we don't practice eco-distancing, then we shall be forced to practice social distancing. But the point I'd like to bring up is our flagship project, which our president has been promoting for quite some time now, as if he could see the future. without the forests, without the trees, even with reduction of the pollution, there's little hope. The Secretary General of the UN is saying that it's a flag red emergency. My problem is that in 2019, the President of the Federal Republic, he declared that we would plant 25 million trees. And from what we can see, we have not been able to actualize this promise. So I'm hoping that we will be able to not just get it actualized, but multiplied in quantum leaps. I believe the NCF has the clout and the ability to do this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, there's another hand from Ms. Simbiat Salami. Can we give her the floor, sir?
Please do.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. All protocol is duly observed. My name is Salami Simbiat, and I think this is my first time that I'll be engaging in such a meeting like this. Okay, so I want to say that the first time I became a member was in 2016 when my school, Federal University of Agriculture, a biological science students, we went on a field trip to NCF. So that was when I became a member. So in order to create more awareness, like one of the first person who asked question rightly said, he talked about engaging the religious bodies. I think it will be very necessary to work with universities, that is other undergraduates, especially those that are carrying out courses that are related to this, like the botany, the biology, and all of the zoology courses too. I think it would be good to carry them on, to make as many as we can to become members, and to, I don't know how we can do that, but to get more members in order to create awareness, even from the undergraduate level. I think it's going to help to aid the awareness of conservation. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir, there are no more hands.
Now you will tell us and ask them, people to respond, because they are all questions which the Secretariat and your staff have to answer. So go ahead.
Sir. Thank you, sir. I think this first question from Madam Inusa on desertification and Jigawa and Yobe State. Just Madam Inusa to say we've had one of our oldest running projects in that axis, the Hateja Nguru Wetlands Conservation Program. Many people do not even know that that is an NCF project, but NCF started that project in 1987. And the project is not just about the wetlands there. It's not just about dams and rivers and things. It's also looking at stopping desert encroachment. One of the phases of that project from 2011 to 2016 was what we call Living on the Edge project. And that involved really planting a lot of trees, organizing communities around there to do many things to stop desertification, including planting shelter belts and wood lots, and showing them better techniques to farm without degrading the soil and therefore causing desertification. But yes, there is a need for us to do more and to even do more outside that axis, because desertification is one of the 4 or 5 major environmental problems we face in Nigeria. So I hope you can engage with the Hateja Nguru Wetlands project. They have close interaction with your university, the Federal University, Duse, and even last week, we had a World Migratory Birds Day at Federal University, Duse, and we'll be happy to engage you. Our staff are right there close to you on the ground. Now, the second question from Mr. Abdul Rauf, I think you really hit the nail on the head. We need to get our message to spread it widely. And one of the best ways to do that is to partner with faith-based organizations. We recognize that over the last 2.5 years, we've been reaching out. We brought about 2 years ago the advisor to the late Duke of Edinburgh on religion and conservation, Mr. Martin Palmer, to be our guest lecturer at the Chief SLA Do lecture for that year. And that started a whole series of things on engaging with faiths. Since then, quite a few things have happened. We are in the process of establishing a Nigerian interfaith initiative on the environment. There is a lot happening with the Catholic faith community. There is a youth carers group of Catholics for the environment. There is Jamaat Nasrul Islam work going on in Bauchi on the environment. NASFAT here is quite involved, and even this weekend, coming weekend, NASFAT is going to do an event to publicize the environment. The Anglican Diocese here, one of them in Lagos, this year did a Zoom event on the environment. So I think it's gathering momentum. A lot is happening there. And also your question about entrepreneurship and really turning the environment and things into a money-making venture and maximizing the value chain and getting profit out of it. We are also interested in that, especially with regards to the whole cycle of waste management, from supporting sorting, collection, recycling, and many other things. We are part of the Nigerian Circular Economy Working Group, and that will be a good area. The lady you mentioned doing things on with tires, repurposing expired tires. We are working with her in FABE. We are working with the lady doing bricks, burnt bricks from plastic bags. And to Mr. Majekodimi, I think there is not much to add. You are absolutely right. We are pushing for actualization of the president's pledge that Nigeria should be growing at least 25 million trees every year from when he made the announcement. We are doing quiet advocacy through the government, the federal government and the state government. And I think as we presented, we've really ramped up our planting activities ourselves, but we are trying to get more people to do it. And several are doing. Some of our corporate members are coming to us and really working with us to plant more trees, whether in schools or public spaces and everywhere. And the same with Madam Simbiat Salami. We've always worked with universities. We've spurred conservation clubs in several universities, and some of them are in this meeting, actually, members of conservation clubs from LASU or UNILAG. And our natural home, of course, is those who are studying disciplines that are directly related to the environment. So there is quite a lot going on, but not enough. I agree with you. We need to do more, and we need to spread the message. And that's why I hope you members in all fields can help us spread the message, and let's do it together. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much indeed. Now we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, the adoption of annual reports and financial statements. Now, item 1 on the agenda is to receive and consider the report of the National Executive Council the audited financial statements and the auditor's report for the year ended 31st December 2020. I hereby move that the report of the National Executive Council, the audited financial statements, and the auditor's report for the year ended 31st December 2020 be, and I hereby approved. Now, would a member please raise his or her hands if he or she wishes to second the motion?
Yes, sir. There is a hand up. Oh, many hands up. There is,
Recognize the longest or the shortest hand as you please.
well, there is,
Who have you
there is,
recognized?
there's Madam Fatai Williams, there is Abio Abiodun, Ayodeji Abdul Rauf, Mrs. Onaridu, Mr. Samson Awapila, and Mr. S. Titus. So I leave the recognition to you, sir.
Me? Well, you see, you are able to see hands raised. I can't on my own screen. So which is the longest hand?
Okay, there are 2 NEC members and the rest are,
Which one?
are not NEC members.
Whom are you proposing?
Okay, so maybe we go with the NEC member this time.
Look,
Yes.
I'm glad you are not the head of INEC. Otherwise, no results will come. Okay, who is the member of NEC? That's Mrs. Onari Duke, or who? Who is the member of NEC? Is it Fatai? Who is the member?
Both of them. So there is Mrs. Fatai Williams, Mrs. Onari Duke, and now architect Onajude has joined them.
Okay. In the genders, the women are in a majority. So Mrs. Onari Duke, please proceed. Especially as you're carrying a younger one who we must recruit. Go ahead. Have you recognized that?
Yes, sir. She can unmute.
She's still muted.
Yes, sir. We are
You have
giving
to
her
unmute.
It's not allowing me to unmute.
You are unmuted
me
now,
to.
madam. No, you are unmuted now. We can hear you.
Thank you, Chairman DG. Yes, I second the motion, and with the youngest conservationist in the house, I hereby second. Thank you.
Good. Now, is there any counter motion? So I now put the motion to the vote. Will all those who are in favor of this motion please signify by raising one hand each? Are you seeing them?
Yes,
Director
they've
General?
started, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
They've started, but it's coming on rapidly.
Okay, good. So one of your staff should count.
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, yes, sir.
Any contrary motion?
Sir, the numbers are still counting for the.
Oh, you're still counting?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
People are still voting, but we.
Okay, when you finish, you let me know. I can't see.
Okay. Yes, sir. It's going. Okay, we'll stop the count after 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, sir, we've got the count for that motion. And
Okay,
it's
fine.
19-4. Yes, sir.
Anybody voting against the motion, please raise your hand. Any?
I think those who raised their hands earlier are still lowering
They've
their
not
hands.
lowered their hands.
They are still doing it. Okay. Yes, they have now. So
Any contrary votes? Any abstention?
none, sir.
So what is the result? Is
So
it
it's,
unanimous?
yes, it's unanimous because there is no contrary vote and no abstentions.
Good. Now, the next motion sorry. Has to do with the reappointment of the auditors. In accordance with Section 3572 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act of 1990, the company's external auditors, Messrs. Akintola Williams, Deloitte, have indicated their willingness to continue in office. By the way, is this the latest name of the company? Mr. Chi, where is the
Chigozie.
representative? Chigozie. Is
Yes,
he
sir.
still around?
Yes, sir.
Is that your latest name?
Can you unmute?
Hello?
Can you unmute, Mr.
Oh, me?
No, no, I'm talking
You can't hear
to the organizers, sir.
Chigozie.
Okay, I think he can't hear us, sir.
He can't.
No.
Anyway, if the name
Okay.
has changed or changes, we shall change accordingly.
Yes, sir. So I'm hearing from the chairman of NEC that the name has changed and that the latest name is Deloitte and Touche.
Right. So this is the company. It's now
Yes,
called
sir.
Deloitte and Touche. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So I therefore move that pursuant to Section 361B of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Messrs. Deloitte Touche be and are hereby reappointed as auditors of the foundation. Would any member wishing to second, please raise your hand.
Yes,
Is there
sir.
any hand raised?
We have two hands, sir.
Now you just select one and let me know.
Okay. There is a
I'll
NEC
leave it to
member,
me.
a NEC member and a non-NEC member.
Select one because I can't see
Okay.
anyone.
With apologies to the NEC member, I think just to give other members the chance to participate, I would go for Mr. Ayodeji Abdul Rauf, if you agree, sir.
Okay, yeah, certainly. Mr. Ayodeji. Abdul Rauf.
The President and all protocol duly observed. Ayodeji Abdurrauf is my name. I hereby seconded the motion. Thank you, sir.
Good. Thank you very much.
So the second.
Any
name there,
contrary
sir,
motion?
is-
Pardon?
No, none, sir. Sorry, I was just
Hello?
saying the second name from NEC who wanted to second the motion was Justice Bukola Adebi.
Well, I'm glad she's with us. Now, there is no contrary motion, is there? Now, would all those in favor of the motion please signify by raising one hand each? You've got them raising hands?
Yes, sir, they are still raising hands. Okay, we'll stop after count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, sir, we got the numbers.
You got them? Good.
Yes, sir.
Any those voting against, please raise your hand.
Okay, people are still lowering their hands from the previous vote.
Okay. All right. All lowered now.
No, 3 left, sir. 3 left to lower their hands. 2 now. 1 more. Thank you. Yes, sir. So it's all lowered now.
Now, anybody wishing to vote against, please raise your hand.
None, sir.
There is none. Any abstention? None.
None, sir. None.
So unanimously carried.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, there is no other business which was notified. There wasn't, was there? No.
No, sir. But can I
So-
make an announcement, sir?
Yes, please do.
Okay, just to inform members that next week on Saturday, the 23rd, the NCF annual Walk for Nature is taking place in Lagos in 3 local governments, in Surulere, in Ikeja, and in Ikoyi/Obalende. So because of COVID protocol, we are trying to restrict the numbers, but this is an event we couldn't hold last year at all. And this year is being decentralized just to get less people. So if members are interested, they should please contact the membership officer because the attendance is restricted because of the COVID protocol. But we would encourage any member who wants to come out and go around the streets in one of the 3 local governments to please inform our membership officer. Thank you, sir.
You have to complete this announcement because I have seen the card for Ikeja and for I've seen the card for Ikeja.
For Surulere and for Ikoyi.
Yes, but the
/
Ikeja
Obalende.
one, they say starts in Alausa somewhere. Where does the Ikoyi start?
So the Ikoyi Obalende one starts at the local government secretariat I think our usual place, the marina at the State House, is no longer available because the governor is living there. So they have moved it to the local government secretariat of the LCDA.
Where is that? The one
we'll,
in Ikoyi?
We'll send the address.
And I see that the one in Ikeja, that's the one that starts at 7 o'clock in the morning.
All of them start at the same time, sir. 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Is this a COVID requirement?
No,
it used to be 8 o'clock. It's now 7. You know? And the one in, is it really so?
Surulere is the other one. It's also starting at the local government secretariat in Surulere.
And where you put keynote address by His Excellency, the governor. Is that for all?
Yes, I think his representatives will read the keynote.
Okay, his representatives, not himself necessarily.
No.
Okay, I thought it was His Excellency's requirements that led to 7 o'clock.
No, I don't want to say it in public, but I think the 7 o'clock is to get people there quite on time.
No, we shouldn't be part of this African time business. People should take us for the time we give. Anyway, you work it out as best you can.
Okay.
Some of us are yesterday's men. Abby? Not so?
Yes.
Okay, so
there is a final announcement, which is to recognize some of our long-term and distinguished fellows. So life fellows and fellows like Adeshegun Akin Olubade, Ayo Igodaro, Dr. Charlotte Ndiribe, George Otto, Ms. Imoni Akpofure, Mrs. Alan Asiers, Professor Paul C. Ananaba San, Isaac Ashalaife, and some representatives of some of our corporate members, Mrs. Ore Famurewa of Friesland PLC, Omolola Fashising of Stanbic IBTC, Deborah Mbarie of AG Leventis, and Anne Kolaole, Lagos State Government, and Dr. Mrs. Stella Okoli of Emzo Pharmaceutical, who is the CEO of Emzo Pharmaceutical.
What did you say?
Just to recognize fellows and live fellows, and then MDs and CEOs of organizations that have joined us today.
Very good. Okay, that's for joining us. Because they are with us today. You say because you are recognizing them, haven't joined us at this meeting.
Yes, sir.
That's what you're doing. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir. Okay.
Well, I'm glad they are with us. Yeah.
Finally, that after you close the meeting, the press, members of the press who we've recognized already would like to join you and the chairman for an interview. So we'll have a breakout session and we'll send you to a press room for that interview session.
You send what out?
You'll just remain in your, where you
in
are
front of, with our screen.
Yes, sir. The hosts of the organizers will send us
We
the
recognize
different.
the questions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. Well, what do we normally do? Many Nigerians like a lot of protocol. Do you normally move for the closing of the meeting? No.
No, not.
I just declare it closed.
Yes, sir.
I just declare it closed.
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Well, I'm
declare to
very grateful to all of you. Very grateful to all of you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We must not give up. We must still continue to strive that more and more of our countrymen and more people in the world will become convinced about the need to do everything possible to preserve our environment. And if damage has been done, try to rectify it the best we can. So please keep trying, keep striving, don't give up. And I'm sure the good Lord will reward all of us. And just on a note of optimism for all of you, I know everybody likes to live to a grand old age. If you consider that we have a trustee who is going to celebrate 103, and we know at what great age our founding president departed, etc. So there may be some benefits in really belonging to the Nigerian Conservation Foundation. Bear that in mind. So thank you very much for all coming, and we see you either next Saturday or as soon as we arrange another meeting. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. So bye-bye, everybody. MD Webfield Resources, sorry, I didn't announce your name, but you're welcome. So thank you, everyone, and we hope to see you in our next event. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
What's up?
Okay, can you who is sending?